Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we're doing 1996's From Dusk Till Dawn. This movie, before we get into all of it, the Caesar cut and everything, and how much Corey loves George Clooney, this movie was requested on Patreon by Damien. Damien, we mentioned it on the Patreon pre-show. We'll mention it here. This is a banger. Yep. No Jean-Claude in it, no Chuck Norris, no, karate tournaments. So this was awesome. We appreciate it. And if you want to join us on Patreon, just go to the app, go to patreon.com, look for Kiss the Reviews, and we're there. We got a bunch of different options for you from free to paid. So.
And it was refreshing to masturbate to a man after so long.
I know. With that said, let's get into the cast. So, Dusk Till Dawn stars Harvey Keitel as Jacob Fuller, George Clooney as Seth Gecko, Juliette Lewis as Kate Fuller, Quentin Tarantino as Richard Gecko, with appearances by Salma Hayek, Cheech Marin, Danny Trejo, Tom Savini, and Fred Williamson.
There's so many people in this movie. It's awesome.
Yep.
And when this came out, this was a weird, Cheech Marin resurgence moment. Because he was gone for a while. I think he was on Nash Bridges. You know what I mean? Just following around Don Johnson all day. He was doing the Ice-T thing from, Law and Order. He's like, oh, what do you mean there's a fucking dead body? He's like, there's a fucking dead body. That was his whole role.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
I say we get into this. We'll start the review, and we'll start with the opening, which, again, is such a good opening to this movie, where you have the Sheriff McGraw. He pulls into this liquor store in Texas. He talks to the cashier for a little bit, goes to use the bathroom, and while he's in there, the Gecko brothers, who robbed a bank recently, pop up like Tupac and Juice with hostages. They threaten they threaten the cashier. The sheriff comes back. Richie shoots the sheriff, shoots the cashier, and as they're walking out, the cashier shoots Richie in the hand. So they burn him alive, and then the whole liquor store explodes. This whole thing, and this kicks off the Richie of it all, and how, and again, and I told you on the Patreon, I forgot the Richie character. I remember a lot of things about this movie. The Richie character always just I always forget about him, and how infuriating he is. Yeah,
he this whole scene though is funny because he's like, I mouth the words. And George Clooney, he knows he's lying. He knows this is not the first time Richie's pulled this shit. So he's like, go wait in the fucking car. He's like, well, you believe me, right? They're two kids. Yeah. Younger brother, older brother having this. You believe me? Yes, I believe you. Get the fuck out of here. Just go. I'm saying whatever I have to say because I am so pissed off at you right now. Yeah. And then the little comedy they sprinkle in here, the sheriff, who's Michael Parks, by the way, he's in almost every one of Quentin Tarantino's movies. Yeah. And they're having the conversation about the girl's special needs son down at the diner making pancakes. And the sheriff's sick. Yeah. You have this comedy and then they break it up with this just crazy violence. And then they even go back to the dark humor right at the end where the cashier, the gas station owner, who's now alive or burnt alive, falls into a pile of popcorn, and the popcorn's just popping all around him, and they're just both looking at it well, that's weird. It's kind of like Nicholson at the beginning of The Departed, she fell funny. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just this weird dark humor that breaks it up. But that's also how you're in a Robert Rodriguez / Quentin Tarantino project.
Yes, absolutely. Well,
I am all about. Anytime these two are together, I am fucking there. I don't care who they cast in it.
Yeah. And by the way, and I know this piece will be on YouTube, anytime you use the word commode,
I got a dream, a lizard. Well, if I use your commode,
you deserve to get schmurdered. You really do. Don't use the word commode. This isn't 1890, okay? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's like 95% of the South, so
there you go.
I'm good with it.
So the brothers leave here. They get to this motel. They take their other hostage out of the trunk. They discuss their plan to go to Mexico. And Seth leaves for a bit. When he gets back, he finds that his crazy brother Richie has raped and murdered their hostage. And this is when Seth flips out.
What I really like about this scene in particular, again, as I mentioned earlier, it shows the difference between the two brothers.
Yep.
But also, Seth has such a very, again, professional relationship with the bank teller, right? These are the rules. Don't fuck with us. We don't fuck with you. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
I give you my word. If you do what we say, you will get out of this alive.
Exactly.
That's part of the reason he's pissed at Richie. Like, don't get it twisted. He's fucked up about the murder. And I like how they do this too with just the quick flashes. And this, by the way, you hear us complain constantly about TV shows. If you watch our Patreon pre-show, about when we see it in movies. If you're going to have a rape in your film, I beg you, do it like this, especially if it's not the central fucking thesis point of your film. If it's just a thing to show how fucked up a character is, this is how you do it.
Yep.
You know when he goes, you want to come sit on the bed next to me?
You already know what's going to happen.
It's not good.
Yep.
Anytime somebody looks like me or Quentin Tarantino is like, you want to come and sit on the bed, watch cartoons? You know what the fuck's about to happen. Get out of here, dude.
Yeah. No, they do a really good job with that.
Yeah, and then Seth, you also get to see where Seth's dominance over Richie comes into play too. With him just, bullying and manhandling him, almost what you would imagine how their father would have treated them.
Yeah.
Right? And just fucking with his glasses and just shaking the shit out of him. I love the little layers here where you can clock, if you really care, you can clock their backstory in your head.
Mm-hmm.
How did two people get like this? Well, clearly Richie's psychotic. Clearly nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
Clearly he was abused, because you see how Seth has to respond to him to get him to listen. Just to listen. And again, the most important part for Seth is not his word. It's the fact they needed her to get across the border. She was his plan to get across the border.
He literally said to Richie before he left, even when they were talking about the liquor store, he's like, we didn't need to do that. We have hostages. This is the whole. This is the whole how we're getting across the border. We need this to do this. This is just. He's very systematic about it, and he's like, you're throwing a fucking wrench into everything when you make these rash decisions. We don't need to kill anybody. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do that. Just go with the plan.
Yep.
And the fact that Richie fucks it all up, he just flips the fuck out.
Every chance he gets.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where they run into Pastor Jake, or former Pastor Jake.
Yes.
And his kids. They kidnap the family, they take over their RV, and they head for the border.
And their opening scene is really good, too. Harvey Keitel, they get through it really fast.
Yeah.
It seemed like you can have your old job back because we're on the road and you're taking this hiatus. The pastor called. You can be a pastor again. And he's like, nope. Have you lost, did you say fuck God, daddy?
Yeah.
And what I really love about this scene, this one little thing in this scene, and we can totally move on, is Juliette Lewis is having that conversation where she says fuck to Harvey Keitel, who's her father, right? Every time a parent says that curse word back to you, you make the face Juliette Lewis makes, where she's almost ashamed that she just heard her father say fuck, because now she's, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, just that kind of like,
You're just gonna wake up and say fuck him?
I didn't say fuck him.
It's so good. But yeah, I love how they just include this really fast. He's a preacher who lost his faith. They're on the road. All he wants is a bed. So clearly they're just homeless riding around in this RV. Yeah. That's it.
Yep. And Juliette Lewis plays poor white trash so well.
She plays things so well.
Oh, she's so good. But goddamn, if there's like, hey, we need poor white trash, what's Juliette Lewis's number? Like, we
can afford her.
Yes. She's gonna crush this role.
Yep.
But after they take over the RV, they head for the border, and we get the conversation between Seth and Jake here when Jake's driving, and we also have Richie's creepy ass with Juliette Lewis, where he's just imagining her saying things in the motel when they first take him hostage. And then now they're on the RV and he's staring at her feet. So you get like feet close up. So anybody with foot fetishes out there, apparently that's But the interaction between Clooney and Keitel is really good here. And it's setting up a lot of stuff. Now you have Richie really going into it. If you didn't already know, they're showing you now how his brain works and how his mind works. And he did really see the cashier say, help me. He really did hear, the other hostage say something or think she was trying to get out. Because that's what his brain's telling him.
He really, because you see Juliette Lewis turn to him in the hotel room and say, Richie, would you eat my pussy for me, please? And he's just like, whoa. And then you flash out real quick and you realize that obviously that was just a fucking vision in his head.
Yeah.
And then they're in the RV and he's like, are you serious? At the hotel? Like, because I'll do that for you if that's what you want me to do.
Did you mean what you said back there where you just fooling around? Because if you really want me to do that for you, I will.
She's like, what are you talking about?
What did I say?
Her face through this whole conversation is amazing.
Yes.
Her use of like her eyes just going back and forth, like, what the fuck is even happening right now? And I also like how George Clooney from the front is talking to Jacob and uses, like, did you see how my brother was looking at your fucking daughter? Yeah. I don't think you want to worry about that all night. And so like that, and then, like the guys at the front come to the understanding. The two dads come to an understanding. And then Seth takes Richie out of that whole area where he's like, we're not babysitting these kids. Yeah. Like, stop talking to them. You're done.
Yeah.
And he has to listen. Put in your bit, which is so demasculating. It's a grown-up have another grown-up telling you to put in your bit. Oh, God.
But they do finally get to the border. They're stopped as the RV is then searched by customs, but they're let through, and you have Seth and Richie hiding in the bathroom with Jake's daughter. So it's just Jake and his son in the driver and passenger seat. And then you have Richie doing Richie things in the bathroom until Seth just knocks him the fuck out.
I love this scene too, because Juliette Lewis goes, thank you. Like, because she knows she's going to die.
Yeah.
If he doesn't shut the fuck up, she's the first one dead.
Yes.
End of discussion.
Yep.
So, like, her just being like, oh my God, thank you. And then the creepiest scene, one of the creepiest scenes in the movie, is her then Juliette Lewis being on the toilet to fool Border Patrol, because Jacob just rat fucks this whole thing up.
Yeah.
They come on board. And I like, by the way, I gotta stop.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi kids, Uncle Corey here. So you've been taken hostage with your dad and your sister. and you've seen a couple of action movies with Bruce Lee, and you think you're going to do some karate shit and be the hero. You fucking ain't. You're not. You have no real world understanding of what is occurring right now. Shut the fuck up and sit down. That is your job.
Any cop will tell you, in a situation like this, you get a chance, you go for it.
Yes.
Because if you were going to do something, you were going to do it when you had a guitar in your hand, not after you had a gun in your fucking mouth.
Yes.
End of discussion.
Yeah.
So anyway, this scene is so fucking creepy, though, with Juliette Lewis on the toilet, because Cheech opens the door. And she's, close the fucking door, please. And he just takes it forever looking at her fucking underwear or the J or whatever. And then they cut to George Clooney, and he's like, I'm fucking looking too. What do you want? Dude, she's like 16. What the fuck is wrong with all of you guys?
Yes.
Gross. She's at the edge of 17. Shout out CD Next.
Okay. Just a side note for that, the 16, 17. I just had a conversation about that. Do you know how many songs? No, he was in the other room. Do you know how many songs were written about underage girls? Whether it's Everybody Goes to Winger, but Kiss had Christine 16. Winger had their song. Prince had a couple of songs. Like, everybody had one song, and it was just like, you could just FYI, comedy. Just if you want to write a song about women, a girl, you don't tell on yourself. You don't have to write how old she was in the song.
Well, especially when every song is essentially like, you can do like all these weird, crafty lyrics that are metaphor. You're all just basically saying her 16-year-old pussy was really, really fun.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Gross. Stop doing that.
Yeah, don't do that. Which also tells you how normalized it was, whatever, 30, 40 years ago and before that. But,
dude, how many fucking guys in the old timey had like a fucking 20-year-old wife that died of cholera, and they're like, well, her 12-year-old sister's a birthing age. I'll just marry her now. It's fucking disgusting.
Yes. But I digress. So after they get through Border Patrol, Jake drives the brothers to the Titty Twister bar, which is this bar. It's a bar they basically took from Devil's Night in The Crow. And Seth and Richie bring the family into the bar where they're going to wait for their contact, Carlos, to come and help them out and split the money and do all of that.
And I love Seth's attitude change immediately.
Yeah.
Like, he comes out of the bathroom in the RV and he's like, holy fucking shit, that was intense. And he is on cloud 9. He's in the best mood. He's joking around with everybody. They get to the bar. He huddles up the team. He's like, all right, we got a good, you don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you attitude. Which, by the way, I know we haven't really been keeping count, but this is like the 7th quote in this movie that I use on a regular basis.
I'm very happy about where we're at. We got a real nice, I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me attitude going on.
But he's in such a good mood. And then they're walking up. And then you see Cheech doing his whole pussy monologue, which as a kid, I 100% had memorized.
Oh, yeah. I
could totally do that on the spot back in the day. Even with the accent, because, it was the 90s. It was okay then. But yeah, I love this scene too. And somewhere, I'd always, just in the back of my head, somewhere I imagined somebody watching this and going like, I fucking knew all Mexicans looked alike. I fucking told them. Because they don't realize Cheech is playing 2 characters. They're dumb. Because they're racist.
Exactly. But they get into this bar. They drink whiskey. And they enjoy all of the entertainment. And they watch as Santanico Pandemonium comes out, dances with a snake. They're then approached by the bar workers who try to kick them out, including Cheech, and the brothers just murder them.
There's one scene in this that this whole setup is great because you have Danny Trejo and then talking about the truckers and you're not welcome here. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, what does he care? But it's very clear. Like, I love how that little detail's in there. My favorite part, though, in this whole one is they're all sat down and they're drinking. Juliette Lewis has her first couple of shots. Scotty gets in on it.
Yeah.
Richie's being cool with Scotty, like, hey, you want to lap dance with that girl? There's an AR for you. He points at the one Asian dancer in a Mexican titty bar and is like, hey, Asian kid, you want to lap dance with that girl? It's on me. I got my whole life to try the Asian shit. Let me fucking roll into some Mexican stuff. You know what I'm saying? Get some of that yayo.
We talked about it before. Sometimes you have to have the assorted candies. You can't just stick to one flavor every single time.
No, that's disgusting. Who wants to eat a Snicker bar all day? Anyway,
I mean,
but the scene that tops all of this is Seth is there stewing because the bouncer put his hand on him and was telling him to get out, and they were about to fight before Jacob interrupted and said, "I'm a truck driver, technically." And so Seth is stewing. He's just fucking banging his glass down, and Jacobs, does are you such a fucking loser? You don't realize when you've won.
That's such a great line.
That is such a great line. It's such a great speech. And it immediately, like, Seth being checked that way, like, the respect between these two guys just continues to build.
Yeah.
And he's like, very calm now. Jacob, I would like you to have a drink with me. And they both toast to their families. Like, that scene is phenomenal.
No, it's a great scene, and I love when he says it, and Clooney tells him to repeat it.
Like, he's like, "What did you call me?"
I didn't make a statement. I asked a question. Would you like me to ask it again? Mm-hmm. Are you such a loser? You can't tell when you've won.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's
a great back and forth.
Two fucking men having that conversation right there. All the shit is gone. Like, you're the tough guy. I'm a pasture, my family, and it's over. Like, dude, you fucking won. Leave it alone.
Exactly.
I love it, dude.
It's brilliant. So after they murder the three or four bar workers, Richie gets his hand stabbed, like, during that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
It's bleeding profusely, and then Richie is murdered by Salma Hayek, who reveals herself as a vampire. That's when all the vampire hell breaks loose, and the entire staff starts murdering all the patrons. Seth, the family, a couple of other bar patrons fight back. They manage to kill almost all of the vampires here.
Yes, and I like to think that most of the effects, because Tom Savini's in the movie, if you don't know who he is like classic 70s, 80s horror special effects. Tom Savini did them if you loved them. Like the eye bursting out of like Cheech Marin here when he dies in front of Juliette Lewis. That is such a Tom Savini. I'm like, oh, he had to do that. I love this old school practical effects that are put into these movies. And if you think like, oh, they look cheap and dumb, and maybe, but they're fucking fun because it's a movie about vampires.
Yeah, exactly.
In Mexico. White people don't go to Mexico anymore, even bank thieves. Read the news, bro.
You were correct.
Everybody involved in this is fantastic. And the band playing the fucking cheeky human torso guitar.
Yeah.
Just cracked me up the whole time. Again, that kind of weird, dark comedy. Like, it's supposed to be dumb. That's why it's in there, to make you laugh.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't supposed to be scary. Like, oh my God, they made a guitar out of a human person?
Fuck you, everybody. Good night!
Seth here, after they kill, all the vampires, or most of them anyway, Seth says his final farewells to Richie. But before he can finish, Richie turns into a vampire as well. After hesitating to kill Richie for half a second.
Four-headed vampire that ever existed.
Well, it is Quentin Tarantino. So
yeah, they stacked like 8 Quentin Tarantino foreheads on top of each other, and we're like, "Here's your makeup, dude." That was nut. It's like they took a cone head set up and then just sawed off the top and put hair over the hole.
You literally beat me to it. I was like, was he on Coneheads? No, so Seth finally kills him here. And then they start hearing bats start flying to the bar. They start, the patrons then start turning into vampires, the ones that weren't murdered. Mm-hmm. And they're waking up. The group goes to kill them. The survivors then regroup. And they try to come up with a plan on how to kill the vampires. And this scene, for me, is one of my favorites. Because they're all going back to, like, old school horror and books and movies. Like, what kills vampires? Wooden stakes, crosses. You can make a cross out of just 2 sticks.
Yeah, Peter Cushing does that.
And it's like, what about silver? The silver's fucking werewolves. Everybody, like, they have that whole fucking conversation.
Juliette Lewis, too, breaking it, just like, well, does anybody even have silver? Then who cares? That's so good.
It's great. During the whole, like, we're killing all the patrons that turned into vampires, Sex Machine was bitten during that whole thing. And he turns into a vampire here. He's trying to discreetly hide it from the rest of the crew. And while Frost is telling his Vietnam story, Sex Machine bites Frost, then Jake, and fucks everyone up until Frost finally throws him to through a window, and then like all the bats start flying in.
Yeah, this is a real fuck around and find out moment for everyone.
Yes.
Because they should have been doing bite checks like pretty regularly.
Yeah, this
that was a kind of hectic, messy battle. Like everybody butt naked time.
Yeah, this
like
goes
like I'm robbing you on fucking in Watts. Get butt naked.
This goes to any zombie apocalypse, vampires come into your neighborhood, whatever, whether it's a movie or in real life. I don't know. I'm not judging. You got to do the bite check. You got to do we just fought like a bunch of these monsters. Did you get bit? And if you don't, you're kind of an asshole and you deserve to die. But my favorite is Tom Savini trying to hide. Like he's turning and he's like putting his hands behind himself real quick.
Feeling his fangs and shit. I love it, dude.
It's so good. And I like how, because again, this is a horror comedy, how they layered in the comedy. Because we've talked about it before in other movies. If you lay it on too thick, it then just becomes a cheesy comedy.
Yep.
But it's layered in so well here that it's just like a giggleable moment where you're just you kind of laugh a little bit and you're like, that was good. That was funny. And then they're just into the rest of like the horror of it all.
Yep. 100%. No, it's a really hard thing to do. We've talked about it before with horror comedies, and then you even put in like some real action into it as well.
Yeah.
Where you got like real people fighting and a lot of gunfire and this kind of shit. That's super difficult to keep everybody on that track.
Yeah.
Where you're in the action, you're enthralled and you're like excited and stimulated. During the horror scenes, you're like, come on. It's a little bit thrilling. And then during these comedic scenes, you're supposed to laugh.
Yeah.
Actually being able to successfully do that is totally different from just having the idea, like, I think this will work. Like, the execution of this by Robert Rodriguez was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's much harder to do this than it is to just stick with one thing. If you're just doing comedy, if you're just doing horror, thriller, whatever it is, it's so much easier to just stay in that lane. When you start changing lanes, it can go bad really quickly, but it worked.
Yeah, so it's like a good wrestling promo, to be honest with you. Like to break it down to the basic. Like the best wrestling promos will take you on that fucking good ride. Where you are just enthralled.
Yeah.
For
wrestling.
some of us. Sorry. me and every Juliette Lewis character on the planet know exactly what I'm talking about.
You both do, for sure. But Seth and the kids run. They make it to the back room because now you got all these bats turning into vampires. They make it into the back room of the bar. They lock the door. Jake, who's been bitten, fends off the vampires and gets back to Seth and the kids. And this is where they start going through all the crates in the back room to manufacture some weapons to fight the vampires that are on the other side of the door now.
And this is so great, too, because they're doing, like, the typical action sequence. Like, we're loading up.
Yeah.
Montage of weapon scenes. But these weapons are condoms filled with holy water and super soakers filled with holy water.
Yeah.
And, like, carving crosses into bullets and crossbows. Like, it's a dope scene. Yeah. But again, it has this layer of comedy into it.
Yeah.
It's so just ridiculous. Like, you're strapping condom grenades to your fucking chest.
It's the level of silly in this is fucking fantastic.
Yep.
But they walk out of this back room, and after this pregnant pause, they start killing the vampires. Sex Machine has his head ripped off, and then he turns into like this rabid vampire mole thing until they finally kill him.
Which was really cool. Again, I'd like to think that was a Savini effect he's had around for a while.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll do the movie, but we're using the rat thing. And they're like, fuck it. Yeah, we'll figure out a way. By the way, just a quick side piece. No pun intended. What a waste of a good cock gun.
Yeah.
I've wanted that thing forever. And if I ever got it, I would literally never take it off.
The codpiece cock gun.
Oh, dude, I'd have a wet dream and just destroy the ceiling when I was asleep.
Hell yes.
Same as 12-year-old Corey, too.
Yeah, exactly.
But my favorite, so you have Savini turning into like the vampire rat mole. You have Frost, who basically turns into Baraka from fucking Mortal Kombat until he's finally killed.
Yeah, he looks wild.
He turns into Baraka. He gets killed finally. Jake turns into a vampire here, bites his son. His son kills him, and then starts to get ripped apart by the other vampires until his sister Kate kills them all.
Yep, that's a good family story time.
Yeah.
Dad starts to kill the son, but the son kills the dad, and then and then the sister kills the son for killing the dad and getting killed himself, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. That's how I made my money.
At the end of the day, that's how families should be.
Yep. Hashtag Menendez. Free Menendez, brother.
But after all this, Seth and Kate, they're the only ones left. And sunlight starts coming in, burning the vampires. And then Carlos finally shows up, blows the door open. All the vampires explode from the sunlight that's hitting like the disco ball. And then Seth and Kate finally get away into the parking lot. Seth goes off on Carlos about like setting up this meeting at this place.
Okay.
And
top 5 favorite line. What were they, psychos?
Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are.
This whole thing was
top
good.
5 line.
And he's like, why did you pick this place? It was just like, rando. I randomly picked this place. I drove by it once. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. But they negotiate this new deal because, everybody's dead now.
Yep.
And for like their bank robbery haul. And after they split up the money, Seth gives Kate some of his cut. He takes off in his newish car. And the movie ends as Kate gets in the RV. She drives away by herself. And as the camera pans out, it shows the back of the Titty Twister with all the trucks in the fucking little chasm behind the fucking bar and all that. Like that's really good. That final shot and that pull away is so good too.
where you're like, that's over, but it ain't done because that motherfucker went deep. There's a lot of something down in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sequels aren't very good. I wouldn't waste your time with them, by and large. No. However, this is just, it's such a classic movie. I always wish they would do something, whether it was with George Clooney or Juliette Lewis, where they came back around. Either the vampires were after them, or like Juliette Lewis became a vampire hunter, or something like that. But obviously they're too big to just keep doing those movies. Like George Clooney did fucking 3 movies. It was the biggest movie star on the fucking planet. Yeah. Not to mention ER made him the biggest TV star on the planet for that time. Yeah. So like he was just skyrocketing out of the fucking stratosphere. And Juliette Lewis was already such an A-list name at that point.
I mean, what did it for George Clooney really, I think, was The Facts of Life. That gig really, that solidified George Clooney as...
Fuck yeah, did you see his butt in those fucking acid wash jeans, dog? Thing's tight.
But, no, they were both huge stars. We watch a lot of these movies where you have like this like really great cast, right? Mm-hmm. And like this movie, front to back, you don't really, and I don't know at the time that a lot of people were like, oh shit, like this person's in it, this person. This fucking cast is amazing. I mean, just the main, just the Tarantino, Keitel, Clooney, Lewis. Just those 4. And then you throw in Salma Hayek and Cheech Marin, Danny Trejo, who nobody really knew at the time, you know, but then you throw in Tom Savini, Fred Williamson, and some others, but like the cast front to back was fucking amazing in this.
Oh, it's insane.
For a horror comedy kind of like, that's nuts. And back then, now you see some people like bigger stars that will dip their toe into horror or horror comedy or whatever. Back then, that shit didn't happen.
No, this was starring TV's George Clooney. Yes. Harvey Keitel was the A-list actor.
Yep.
And Juliette Lewis was the main actress on the film.
Yeah.
But other than that, none of these guys had been established. Quentin Tarantino was a writer.
Yeah.
Mainly, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't doing anything like that. And on down the line, like I don't even think Desperado had come out. So maybe we didn't even see Salma yet or Danny Trejo in that yet.
Yeah.
Like there were, again, so many people in this that just blew the fuck up. I love this movie. It will always be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And you can't really get me hard. I'm hard pressed to say anything bad about Robert Rodriguez or Quentin Tarantino films because their style is so specific to the film they're making. Like they're almost these throwbacks to, 70s specific films or homages to very specific 70s action films or horror films that you can't judge them like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really difficult to do that. So all that said, this is one of my favorite movies. Nice job,
Same.
Damien. You needed this one, bro.
Yeah.
You needed this win big.
This one brought you out of the cellar.
Yeah. This was, yeah. You need like this. Will Smith needs a moment like this right now.
Yeah.
He's making 100%. out with chicks on stage and shit. And
yeah.
Even that looks fake. You know what I mean? He's gayer for George Clooney than I am.
I think we'll end it there. I love this movie too. This was a banger then. It's still a banger. I love watching this movie. But that's all I got. You got anything else for this one?
No, I've stuck my foot all in my mouth multiple times. I'm good.
For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1996's From Dusk Till Dawn.